Hello, my name is Lauren, and this is my 2018 Llww pen swap challenge video. I'm going to show how I make a pen from bird's eye maple and redwood burl, and just going to go through the steps of how I make the pen. Okay, here are the bird's eye maple and the stabilized redwood burl, and I've already gone through and found the center line end to end on the bird's eye maple. What I'm going to do is going to cut the bird's eye maple in half, and halfway in each section of the pen I'm going to have it at 45 degrees with an aluminum accent, and then finish the ends with the redwood burl. And so to start, and to try and keep the grain aligned in the center of the pen, I'm going to have a center mark where I'm going to divide for the upper and lower tubes and keep close to that. I want to find near center as close as I can at the upper and lower tube. Now I'll carry that line through the center, and I'll make the 45-degree angle go through that center line. Then I'm going to find that 45-degree angle. I want to cut it. Sorry for the lighting, it's pretty poor in my garage. Alright, and then I'll have to do the same, I'll just cut the 45 and however much longer I need for the tubes. If we line it up this way, I know I need to come out. Okay, I think the easiest thing to do would be to mark the tubes as if I was using one blank. And I'll just carry all the lines across to the redwood burl. Okay, now with the lines all drawn, trying to get a better picture here at the poor lighting. Got the bottom half of the top half of the pen, the top half of the bottom end of the pen, and then there'd be the top half and bottom half of the other two parts of the pen. I'm going to go through and cut the pieces all out and get some aluminum ready to glue in between and get that epoxied in, and I'll be back at the bandsaw getting ready to cut these out in just a minute. Alright, got the bandsaw ready here, and starting with the bird's eye maple, I'm going to cut it in half on that center line. I've also gone through and made a jig here with a 45-degree angle to make it a little easier to make these cuts, and I'm going to use that to cut the ends off of these and get the redwood burl ready. Should have cut the ends of the redwood burl off first, but got that done. Now I'm ready to get the aluminum cut and ready, and I might take these ends and sand the inner faces to make sure they're flat. I think I noticed the redwood burl moved a little bit as I was cutting it, so I'll make sure that those are sitting flush, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, I've gone through and labeled the upper blanks and the lower blanks to keep them separate. I'm ready to glue them together. I've got some aluminum pieces here ready to go in between each half, and that I just got from, you can use pop cans, beer cans. I actually used a Bud Light aluminum bottle. They tend to be just a tad thicker. I want it to not be too overstated, but to stand out, not be too thin and kind of get lost at the same time. So I got that all ready. I sanded off all the coloring off of the aluminum, or most of it, and cut a strip off of that, and just cut it to the length that I need. And then I've got epoxy here, and get that set up and ready to go. This is the DevCon from, I believe I bought it at Lowe's. Get that mixed up here. Side. We'll put that one against the plastic. All right. Now just to get that clamped into place. And then need use a small block of wood to keep it pressed against the, keep it square against the back. And another one here to keep them tight together. Move that down a little bit. And then need some more epoxy. And then the same thing for the other half. Apologize if you're not able to see very well. I sanded both sides of the aluminum when I was getting that ready so that the epoxy has something to stick to on both sides. both halves are glued up, and just gotta let that set overnight, and I'll come back and I'll go through and get them drilled and ready to turn. I'll be back then. Alright, it's been overnight, and taking these out of the clamps. Just have to break that apart. I'm just going to take them over onto the lathe and get the holes drilled, and then I'll also go through and sand and square off the ends after getting the tubes glued in, but let me get to the lathe first to get them drilled. Okay, we've got the holes drilled, so I'm going to glue in the tubes. I'm going to use some thick CA, and I'll give this a couple hours once it's together to dry. Squeeze some on there. And twist it around before it starts to set up. And the same on the other one. And give that some time to sit up and dry, and I'll be back when ready to sand and trim down the ends. Alright, I've got the pen blanks ready to go on the mandrel here on the lathe, and we'll get to turning and all the finish and everything. I'll leave it on the time lapse, and that way it doesn't take as long, and see what we got when we're done. Okay, there's the pen blank turned down. I'm going to finish sanding through up to 400, and then I'm going to do a CA finish and then a polish on the top of that, and I'll do the time lapse through that as well. Here's a up close look at the pen blank all done. Next step is just to get it off the lathe and get it put together. Alright, I used my lathe as a pen press also, and just going through and getting ready to put the nib on the lower half here. Sometimes I use the bushings in the back end to protect the back end, even though I have the plastic bushings on the headstock and tailstock. Then we've got the coupler. Then put in the ink refill, and the transmission screws on. Alright, and then the decorative ring. And the clip. Then we just go and match it up here in the neutral position and turn right or left and extends the ink. And that is it. That way you can see it. And that is the completed pen. Alright, back again just to conclude here. This is the pen I just completed. Another shot of that, hopefully in better lighting here. And I've also received my Swap Partners pen, and that I have here. And I'll be getting this one out in the mail tomorrow. And here's a pen that I received from my partner Tim, and very nice. Looks like some of it is acrylic. Maybe even the dark might be acrylic, I'm not sure. But very nice looking. Similar idea with the angles. It is a really good looking pen. And just to close, I'd like to thank everyone that participated in the pen swap, and thank you, Lynn, especially for putting on the challenge. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun, and thanks for watching.